Hello guys, my name is Diego Pacheco and this is another Java video. Today I want to talk about another pattern. It's called factory kit. So this pattern is pretty interesting and I need to admit it's a bit hard to wrap your head around it, right? So you need to kind of force it a little bit, but it's very interesting. So I'm gonna open some IntelliJ IDEA project I have here and we can start from there. Basically, this pattern you can use for games or for any kind of customization, and the name of the pattern as factory kit is exactly like that. It's a kit to create factories. Imagine like on the standard factory, the factor creation logic is abstracted by the pattern, and this one it allows the users to create their own factories, so the building logic is pushed to the consumers, but there is some guardrails you put in place, and in that sense it's a very interesting pattern. Imagine like you are building a game or any kind of SDK that allows the user to customize things. You would go in this pattern. All right, so this pattern is a bit difficult, so I'm gonna try to go as slowly as I can. Right, so let's get started. So first we have a demarcational interface to say that we have a weapon. All right, and we do not require anything. This is just demarcational, right? And then we have some weapons, like we have an X. And an X implements weapon, but since weapon is a demarcational interface, we don't need to do anything. In fact, I just implemented toString to show that's actually an X, all right? So if we print X, you see, oh, it's an X. But let's say if we are building a game and that's an SDK to customize the game, what you could do is to specify some things from the weapon, right? Like how much damage that weapon inflicts, or let's say how much it will last, right? You can use like 3 times and then it's over, it's broken. Or you might say what kind of sound that weapon will gonna make, or anything you need, right? But here we're not going that far, right? So we're just printing the name of the weapon, right? So that's an X. In that sense, we have a bow here, right? And the bow, again, implement weapon. Weapon is a demarcational interface. There's nothing there. I just, print the bow. Then here there's a spear. And again, spear is a demarcational interface. There's nothing going on here. And just print the spear. And then we keep going. There's a sword, right? And then we just, print the sword, and that's it. Okay. So now let's create an enum called weapon type, because we want to restrict types of weapons. So basically, let's say there's only 4 types of weapons. It's either a sword, or is an axe, or is a bow, or a spear. In this way, if you think about the pattern, right, we are restricting, we are putting a boundary here to say, okay, that's are the 4 types of weapons that are allowed, but we could customize it, right? We could have like a red sword, or a blue sword, or legendary sword, right? But you cannot create a double X, for instance, because that's just X, right? Okay, so that's the easy part. Now let's get into the interesting but complicated part, right? So we need to define a builder, so you're gonna be able to build your own weapons given these constraints. All right, so the builder is gonna be an interface. All right, so remember what I said in the beginning, we want to push the rules, the factor creation rules, to the user. All right, so the user will need to provide builders for us, and the builder just need to add. And what add means is we're gonna have sort of a catalog of weapons in memory, and that builder just gonna build to that catalog. All right, so the builder just need to implement add, and add, it needs to do 2 things. First thing, it needs to tell us the type of the weapon, and remember our enum, so that's why we have enum. So we are restricting, we are fixing these 4 kinds of weapons, right? So sword, axe, bow, and spear. So that's the only 4 weapons you can build. So the builder when you're building a weapon, you need to specify the type that you want to use. And then you need to provide the instance of the weapon object, all right? And supplier is just a fancy way to put some lazy loading around, right? I could put weapon directly here, but you're gonna see that's more interesting to have a supplier here. And then it's a supplier of weapon. So basically, if you call supplier.get, you're gonna get the instance of the weapon, right? So our builder is actually not that complicated if you think about it. You just provide the type of the weapon and the instance of the weapon through a supplier, right? Now, that's where you're gonna start to get more complicated, right? Let's look the factory kit and let's look the implementations, because only when you see two things that might make sense. So, okay. So the weapon factory is an interface, right? And for this interface, when we want the users to use the weapon factory to build their weapons, right? So remember, we want to push the rules to the users, but we want them to use the weapon factory to do that. And there is two methods here. There's a static method called factory, right? Where you're gonna pass a consumer and we're gonna build the weapon factory. So the factory method, it's gonna build the factory itself, all right? So there's an interface building an interface, right? It's a bit weird, right? Because this is the interface and we're returning the interface, right? So we're only gonna have one instance of our factory. And what happens here is that this factory receives a consumer. And a consumer in functional programming Java 8 is just a class that consumes something, right? It sucks some value in. And there's an accept method. And that accept method gonna consume whatever type is generic parameterized. So in this case, the type is a builder. And remember, builder is an interface. We just saw it here, right? So the weapon factory, when you build the weapon factory, you're gonna pass a consumer, right, which is a builder, right? And we're gonna use this builder to build the factory, and this is the builder that needs to be implemented, right? And what we're gonna do here, okay, now we are building the factory, so we need to have in-memory catalog of our weapons, right? And that's gonna be done using a hash map. And the hash map, the key, gonna be a weapon type. And why weapon type? Remember, we have a consumer of a builder, and a builder, we pass a weapon type, right? So that's gonna be the key of the map. So the key of the map is gonna be for the type of the weapon. This is restricting us to only have 4 weapons, right? Of course, we could use a slightly different design, instead of a none here, or it changed it a little bit so we would have more instance of weapons, right? If it's the case. But here, let's go simple. Then the value of the map is gonna be the supplier of the weapon. In other words, based on a none type, I have the instance of the weapon, right? And the builder gonna get that to us, right? And now we need to link the two things. We need to link the builder result with this map that we have here, right? And this is done by this line here, all right? This line is a bit magical. So what means is, okay, you are passing to me a consumer of a builder, all right? So when I say consumer.accept, I'm gonna receive a builder instance, right? And for each entry there, I'm gonna call map.put. And map.put, as you know, in Java, you need to have a key and value, right? But you are not seeing any parameters here, so this code looks weird, right? Because you have some consumer which is consuming what, and you're putting what into a method, right? But so the consumer is consuming a builder. And remember, what's a builder? A builder is a weapon type and a supplier of weapon, right? Okay, weapon type, supplier of weapon. That's exactly our key and value on the map, all right? The key is a weapon type and the value is supplier of a weapon. Then when I say accept, I'm gonna get my builder instance there, right? And when I put it, what I'm gonna be putting is, okay, so the builder because the builder is exactly structured as the same types as the map, we're gonna be able to add that on the map. That's why this line here can do the magic, right? And with that, with this way here, we build our catalog. So now we have a map in memory that has a weapon type and how we can instantiate a weapon. And finally, we just need to return a weapon factory. So we want to return implementation of the weapon factory. However, remember, this is an interface. So how gonna return an instance of an interface? Well, we're gonna do a lambda anonymous inner function here, and this bit here is the implementation of the interface, right? Because remember, what we need to implement on the interface, only this method. We just need to implement a create method where you're gonna pass an weapon type that I'm calling name, and it's gonna return a weapon. And that's exactly what's going on here. So name is a weapon type, right? And my implementation is, okay, I just gonna get my map, which I have here, my catalog, and I'm gonna do a get based on the name, and then I'm gonna do one more get because this is a supplier, right? And here is your weapon type. Your weapon, right? So in theory, all these three lines are the implementation of the interface, but the implementation of the create method is this inner lambda right here, right? So this is very clever. This is a bit weird to digest on the beginning, but it's really, really interesting and clever. Now let's look to the main application, which is pretty cool. So look what we can do here. So we have a weapon factory, then we call factory. So we're gonna build the factory. And then, remember, let's go there again on the factory. We need a consumer of a builder, right? So let's pass a consumer of a builder, all right? So we need to pass something that accepts a builder. And what accepts the builder is exactly this, right? So we have a inner function, a lambda, anonymous inner function, where we are consuming a builder, right? And in our consumption, what we are doing, we are calling the add on the builder, right? And then we are defining our factory rules right here. So you're saying, okay, so builder.add, I want a sword, here's the sword instance. I want an axe, here's the axe instance. I want a spear, here's the spear instance. I want a bow, here's the bow instance, right? And then we constructed the factory. And once we constructed the factory, now we can call create, and we can create weapons by type. So I want to create an axe, here's your axe, and you can run here. So first, let me run. So if it's working, then we can debug. So it helps you to wrap your head around this. There you go, X, right? So it works. Now let's debug. I'm gonna put some breakpoints in some weird positions just to make it easier to understand what's going on. Okay, right. So let's go there. Okay. So first thing I'm gonna debug is the factory, all right? So here we are creating a factory. Awesome, that's easy part. Create the map, and now I'm gonna consume, and that builder, right? I'm gonna put on the map in my own catalog, right? So if I press F6, I go here, and then if I press F5 and F5 and F6, right? So we constructed that. So all that entered to the map, right? So I'm not sure. Let me see. Builder. No, I don't have it. Yeah, here. So you can see that our internal object there, right? Because there was a map here, or map factory, right? Map. We can see that we populated that map, right? And it worked very well. And then let me move forward. And now here, right? You see, we didn't call create yet, right? But we need to implement the interface. And here's the create implementation. This is the implementation of this, right? And we're just saying that, okay, pass me a name, I'm gonna get you an instance, right? And that's it. So we build the factory. Now I'm gonna call create. Then if I press F5, look where the code goes. Goes exactly here, right? That's our implementation of create. And that implementation is very obvious, right? You pass me a name, the name is X, and I go to my map. Do I have an X there? Yes, then return an X instance, right? And that's it. You get it there, right? So that's it, guys. That's the factory kit. I hope you guys like it. See you next time. Take care.